And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast, plus also as well, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. We cover the latest news and notes in the world of fantasy football. Go ahead and check out our latest episode that dropped this morning. Will it help you out in your last week of NFL football? Or do you have a fantasy football championship game coming up in the final week? Let us know by going ahead and checking us out at Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Plus also as well, Joe Soro. He is right there with the combat fatigues right there going on his baseball hat. So go ahead and check out what he's doing right there. As Oxide Team 47 right there at LakersBall.com. Plus also as well, go ahead and check out what he's doing today at Simblades, Simblades with a Y.com. You know, Laker Tom is doing all those magical trades for Marcus Smart because he saw the performance, Marcus Smart, and, you just go by the one game you saw the Lakers, that he played. So, of course, you got to make sure that you put him on several different trade proposals, and you can see what Laker Tom is doing with all those trade proposals today at Lakerholics.com, along with Jamie Sweet and his 5 things which will not be so kind to the Lakers. Go ahead and check it out today at Lakerholics.com. Plus our good friends John Costa right there at Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. Also as well, Lakers in 5. He had Lakers in 5 on earlier today. Go ahead and check out his interview with LI5 there. Lakers in 5, support them. Empire Jeff TV has been all over our coverage today. Really appreciate him stopping by our pregame and also as well, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Also as well, go ahead and check out some great channels, including the John McCallion channel, also Larry Lakers Dribbling Chit Chat, and the Daniel Berry Sports Highlight channel. Got to go ahead and check them out today wherever you get your YouTube. Plus also, speaking of YouTube, please like and subscribe. Subscribe today or follow us if you're on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, what have you, to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with your latest therapy session right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It is Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for joining us. The Lakers come in on this homestand. Already the rumors, the innuendo, the reports, the behind the scenes. Rashawn Charania talks about strife in the locker room. Darvin Ham's job may be in jeopardy. Darvin Ham quoting to Dave McMenamin from ESPN that he's solid. He's got the backing of Rob and Jeannie, and he's solid. Everything is good. So everything was good going into today's game against the Memphis Grizzlies at home at the Crypt. What could possibly go wrong against a team that was 11-23? Well, after finally winning a first quarter, which is something they haven't done much this season, they proceeded to go ahead and stop defending the 3 and gave up 23 3-point shots for a 51% percentage from behind the arc for the Memphis Grizzlies. Everyone seemingly hit threes. Marcus Smart, a 26% shooter on the season, 8 threes. John Morant, 3 threes. Desmond Bane, 5 of 8. Zaire Williams, 2 of 6. Jaren Jackson Jr., 5 of 6. They exploded from behind the arc, and in the second half and in the fourth quarter, outscored the Lakers 33-19 on their way to dusting off. Did you hear that sound? They dusted off the Los Angeles Lakers in the fourth quarter as the Lakers folded in the final stanchion, providing no opposition. Once they got behind, it was just a matter of just basically, you can see the body language, the effort, just none of it there. And Coach Ham, hands in the pockets indeed. As the Lakers lose 127-113 to fall to 17-19, they are officially out of the playoffs right now. If the season ends today, they are in 11th place in the Western Conference as we speak. And here today to talk about another disgusting game, and has the seat now been put in the microwave? Getting hot for Darvin Ham. 3 awesome panelists indeed. First up, first man here is the man that's done a lot of great work with us over the years right here at the Lakers Fast Break. It is our basketball guru, Mr. Stone Hansen. And Stone, great to have you here, my friend. You've been on the Fire Ham train for a long time, my friend. That train is going down the track, And it
Feels
seems
good
like
to have supporters.
I know you have not seen this movie because you said you don't watch movies, but this
No,
reminds me of Silver Street because that train is actually going to go and crash into the station, and I think it's going to crash in the station sooner rather than later at this rate.
it's crashed. It crashed tonight, Gerald. It exploded. I mean, this is pathetic. It's
That's
absurd.
a good word, pathetic, I think.
It's
Yes.
and it's absurd the fact that I caught the Heat game today. Actually, I didn't watch it with you guys, unfortunately,
My
but
condolences.
uh, yeah. And it's absolutely wild to me that the Lakers uh last game learned zero from that game and applied it to this game. Zero, nothing. They didn't practice anything. You can tell that um, the Heat played 45 zone possessions against us last game, and we scored 41 points against it, which is absolutely awful. And tonight, in the fourth quarter, when the Grizzlies applied zone, it was turnover after missed shot after turnover. We had no answer to how we play against a zone. We don't know how to do it. The Heat showed 28 other teams that you can do this too, and this is how you beat the Lakers. The Grizzlies took note and did it tonight. And I'm sure the next team will do it too, and we'll have no answer for it because we don't practice it. It's clear we've never practiced against a zone. We last game the Heat pulled away from us in the fourth quarter. You would think we'd have a little more fire in the fourth to maybe stop that from happening again. We didn't. The Grizzlies took over in the fourth. The first half they started getting hot in the second quarter from three. So naturally we let them shoot and make a bunch more threes in the second half. And it's terrible. I mean, the ownership, the management, the coaching, the roster, everything about it is pathetic. And anyone that's watching or watched tonight, if you had any hope whatsoever that this team was going to win a championship, there's zero chance. I'm sorry to tell you, but there is zero chance. We will not win a championship this year. It's not going to happen. It's pathetic.
I like that word in this case. I think it's very fitting. Pathetic. Also here today, good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check him out as Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. And of course, what he does, please start with the New Year's resolutions by getting a new lawn transformed into something much more magical than it is today. If you are in the Southern California area, do it at his company, Simblades. Simblades with a Y. Help him out, Simblades with a Y.com, because he is so depressed watching what we're seeing right now with the Lakers. It is Joe Soro. And Joe, great to have you here. Great part of our coverage on our simulcast. My God, we started simulcasting this off of playback. What are the first two games that we've done? Crap and crappier. And tonight was crappier indeed.
Simulcraps for the first two games.
Simulcrap is absolutely the word. So your thoughts on tonight's disaster and dumpster fire in the fourth quarter for the Los Angeles Lakers?
Waiting for the game to finish, I wanted to keep a little bit left for the show tonight. I noticed Coach Taylor Jenkins, the Memphis Grizzlies, probably play, you can say opossum, or hustled the Lakers. It's not in my view, it wasn't a coincidence that he didn't zone up until the fourth. And when that happened, the Lakers couldn't. Let's say if he had done it in the second quarter, maybe the Lakers adjust to it. Let's just say maybe, right? But he guaranteed it. He said, look, we're going to keep this thing close because the momentum in the game never felt comfortable. I never felt like the Lakers were going to dominate the game or at least take it all the way, even when they were in double-digit leads. So I think what he did was he threw the aggressive zone in the fourth, and of course that's when everything went to crap. And apparently Darvin Ham's learned a lot in letting three-point shooters shoot from his mentor Budenholzer, and this is the product you get. When a player like Marcus Smart is making shots like that, you should be able to adjust no matter the talent, at least in getting somebody in his face. But the team is playing lethargic. There's not a lot of enthusiasm. There's not a lot of trust. There isn't a lot of talent as well to cover the gaps. LeBron didn't help, missing 4 free throws at the end of the game. We're going to I have to understand, folks, that LeBron, even in his 21st season, he's just not. I'm going to say this, okay? I've been using that as an excuse, and I have a motto that says, and a good excuse is still an excuse. In this case, it's an excuse. It's still not good, even though it's justified to a degree. But if you're good enough to play, maybe we need to stop saying that. Maybe we need to stop not blaming LeBron for making bad passes out of his own. Because I've been told for years that LeBron is a genius. No matter how bad his athletic ability has waned, no matter how bad a coach is, no matter how bad the guy he's passing to is, I would like to think that after 21 seasons in the NBA, he'll make a smarter decision in that moment, but he doesn't. Missing free throws is missing free throws. It is what it is. He's always been a high 70% free throw shooter, so that's not a surprise. But the fact that not only is Max Christie, apparently some guys out there think he's a guy that we're gonna, train to be an integral part of this team. He's passing behind. We talked about this. I feel like I'm saying that word.
Well, Matthew Stone pointed out he broke the first layer of defense in that zone defense.
And then when you pass it back, you now allow the zone to get back into their position.
Dumb play.
It's a dumb play. Now, here's what happens there. I said this on playback. Max Christie is not LeBron. Okay, he is a second-round pick who's got some athleticism, he's got the NBA body, but he is not being coached well. And at the very least, if you have a diva star who you can't get through, that's something that we've seen 100 times in our life. But those guys need to be the ones that do listen to the coach. But it looks like the coach isn't teaching them how to get out of a zone, especially after getting waxed 75% of the game against Miami. And it might have been more, by the way. It's ineptness at its highest level on every end. We had said that Rob and Jeannie have done all they can in terms of re-upping contracts, making everyone feel valuable. Well, I guess we're going to have to change that tune. It looks like they didn't bring in the right guys, and maybe they couldn't. Maybe there wasn't a chance at bringing in somebody that could be a difference maker. It's just not. It's not in the cards with the way this team is structured. It's just there's no other way. So I'd say that's probably the most depressing part of this is the fact that the current rules just don't allow you to switch, out of nowhere. We went on a run last year. You can argue that was evidence that it does help, but I'm not looking at last year. I'm looking at this year. They actually look worse this year. They actually look worse, and it's coming down to the fact that a lot of these players that they brought in are just they're not up for the moment. And Darvin Ham is just, I'm thinking at this point, because at least with Luke Walton and Byron Scott, they had nothing to work with, absolutely nothing. Randy Fund, when he was coach after Dunleavy left, he had nothing. This guy has 2 starting freaking all-stars on his team. This is the worst modern-day hire that the Lakers have ever made, by far. And a lot of us got the hint in the first sentence he said at Media Day. And that's where we are at right now.
Once again, it is the Lakers, unfortunately, losing 127-113. They fall to 17-19. They are now 11th place in the Western Conference, out of the playoff picture as of this time. But also here today, good man indeed. He is the guy who interviewed Lakers in 5 earlier today. So go ahead and check that out on his channel. It is the Lakers Corner guy himself, John Costa. John, great to have you here. Your thoughts on this dumpster fire of a fourth quarter and this dumpster fire of a situation going on right now with the Los Angeles Lakers?
Man, dumpster fire is a great way to put it, because this is an absolute disaster. I mean,
pathetic is also a good keyword.
But yeah, Stone put it great earlier.
Put that into description for today's show.
I like that. I like that. Definitely a pathetic performance tonight, but I mean, now we're stretching this to a 4-game losing streak when we're supposed to be on a homestand. Like coming into this homestand, I was thinking to myself, like, all right, cool. Like, here's a chance for us to turn this thing around. Here's a chance for the media to get off our backs a little bit. Some of these role players to see the ball go through the hoop, get some wins under our belt, and we start feeling good rolling into February, onto the rest of the year. But now we slide into this 4-game losing streak. And to me, what was most frustrating was, like, as a Lakers fan, I've just grown to accustomed for bad first quarters. I'm just like, all right, cool. We're just gonna punt this first quarter. Second quarter, we're gonna have a great run. We're gonna get back into it. And then we're gonna get in a back and forth game. But after this great first quarter that we had, this game outscoring them 38-29, we almost put up a 40 ball. If you would have counted that full quarter that they made at the end, we would have had a 40 ball. But okay, I'm like, all right, cool. Coming into the second quarter, I'm feeling good. And then all of a sudden, they just start raining 3-pointers, whether it came from Triple J, whether it came from Ja, and it was a little bit ridiculous to me, because as of right now and today, the Lakers lead the NBA in allowed 3-pointers at 15 per game. This game, the Grizzlies hit 23, and I just think that, like, as a coach,
52% shooting, I believe it was
52%. That is correct. And like, as a coach,
51. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm sorry. 51. Whoa. Yes.
20. Yeah, they hit 23. Wow. That's insane, you guys. Like, that's above what we're already allowing. And to me, it's like, as a coach, you got to look at the numbers. You got to look at the way the past games been playing. You got to look at film, and you got to adjust to these things as they come. Not just like, how Joe said, have that Coach Bud mentality, which is like, I'm gonna be stubborn through it. Remember, I believe it was in 2020 when Coach Bud was just insisting on playing that drop coverage, and he almost got fired. The only reason why he didn't end up getting fired is because the following year they ended up going on and winning the championship, I believe. But anyway, I say that to say, Darvin Ham, questionable decisions tonight, just like every night. Christian Wood, he was giving us good production beginning of the game, and then what happened? All of a sudden,
you took him out of the game.
Didn't really see him that much. He was giving us good production. And then Darvin Ham's like, "Oh, what? You're helping us win? All right, come sit on the bench." And he ends up playing 16 minutes. And another thing, I have to blame this on Darvin Ham, but I can't put this fully on Ham. I got to put this on the players as well.
You'll like this quote coming up for Darvin Ham. I got to tell it to Joe, but go ahead, my friend. Finish up.
This last thing I'll say, and then you get that off. But look, why are we insisting on being a 3-point shooting team when that's just not our strong suit? Like, almost every game that we have lost, we've shot like 28, 30 plus threes. And it's just like, to me, it makes no sense, especially because, like I said, if you've been watching film, if you've been watching the Lakers, when are we most dominant? When we're taking like 10 to 15 threes and we're dominating inside, not just, and I understand LeBron got off in the beginning, that 4 for 4, and, he was feeling it. And then if that's the case, all right, you get it, LeBron, but not the rest of the team. Tonight, we took 28, made 10. It's just an absolute embarrassment. The Lakers need to play to their strong suit, but man, I'm upset. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really upset.
You should be upset. You all should be upset. You should be pissed. This is embarrassing. This is disgusting. This is absolutely not what we signed up for. And Joe, the press conference in the back for Darvin Ham, his quote, as relayed on Twitter by Dave McMenamin, I want to put it now in the chat for everyone out there. Great crowd, by the way. Please like and subscribe. Here it comes, Joe. I'm going to put you on. I know, Stone, it's your turn for it, but let me put on Joe for this response. Joe, Darvin's Ham excuse today is, I'm tired of people living and dying with every game we play. This is a marathon. And Stone, you can also interject if you want as well.
That's a broken man, folks. That's a broken man.
This is a marathon. Live and die.
Is Darvin Ham living in 1973 when there was tape delay? Go ahead, Stone.
Zero accountability is what I get from that response.
Folks,
zero. He does not care.
Folks, let's learn a lesson here. We try to look. When I was being taught how to broadcast, I actually went to school for it. You're supposed to bring in live, identifiable events or situations like in real life, right? With sports, it allows those who aren't, like, for example, if Stone doesn't watch movies, so we have to kind of make things make sense without using the movie side of things, right? It's very easy for most people, but Stone is Stone. The reason why he's stone cold is because he don't watch crap, and that's why he's great, and he knows his stuff. So this is a grown man. This is a man who got shot in the face. Someone who is supposed to be a man's man, but unfortunately, when the pressure comes, folks, that's really the telltale sign on who you really are. I don't know if it's worse than getting shot in the face, but probably not.
But he's solid, Joe. According to him earlier before the game,
but
he's solid.
No, unfortunately, it's not. Go ahead, Stone.
He says he's solid because Genie has come out before tonight's game and said he has our full support. I mean, Ham has nothing to worry about. So really, this is ultimately on Genie, right? If you're telling Ham you're safe, you're good, we trust you. You're not really giving him any incentive to take responsibility because, I mean, he obviously he's fine. Apparently, he meets their standards of mediocrity. And I mean, can you guys recall any single quote of Ham taking accountability for a loss? I can't remember him being like, "Oh, yeah, we shot we executed our defense really poorly."
Always an excuse.
That's
Always.
on me. It's finger pointing. He wants to put the blame on someone else, and he can't take accountability. It is. I mean, not to say nobody else is at fault. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying Darvin Ham plays a pivotal role in these losses, and he doesn't want to partake in that. So, yeah, I mean, he just does not care. And I have more to say. I'll save it for a little bit later, but just real quick on some of the adjustments he refused to make. I mean, obviously the 3-point shooting, but zone we talked about a little bit already. Attacking the rim, like Lakers corner was saying, we should have attacked the rim, and that's when we're at our best. This team, when Triple J's not on the court, is absolutely terrible at the rim, at defending the rim. I mean, we can get there at will and do whatever we want at the rim. And we waited until late in the third quarter to start attacking the rim, and that's when Triple J's in the game, who's one of the best rim protectors in the league. It just makes zero sense. I don't understand what sort of logic Ham is putting in this game plan. It doesn't seem like there is any. We're talking about why is it that we're forcing these guys to shoot 3-pointers? I don't think it is. I think what the problem is Ham's just telling these guys do whatever you want on the court. I think there's just no repercussions for anything that they do. It's do whatever you want on the court. And what guys usually want to do nowadays is, get some threes. And he's fine with it. He doesn't have any issue with them doing whatever they want. Wood and Reeves cannot dribble, and they seem to be, two of the biggest ball handlers running on the court. He just wants guys to do whatever they want. And there's no repercussions for it. So, if that's what he thinks is going to win him, the championship and fan points, then keep going, because he has nothing to fear, because he has his full support from Lakers ownership.
He's solid.
He's solid. He's solid. The Lakers are solid. We need to stop getting mad about losses, accept them like a good little Laker fan, and maybe things will change and Ham will right this ship.
That's ridiculous.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. It is.
They're not going to listen to him anyways.
That is
ridiculous. Yeah, that's for sure. John, well, let me bring you in here on this. His comments right there. When I said those comments, you heard Joe and also as well Stone's reaction. Your reaction to Darvin Ham's latest comments. I'm tired of people living and dying with every game we play. This is a marathon. It's almost halfway over, this marathon.
Yeah, it's almost halfway over, and he doesn't even look like he has an idea of what this team's supposed to be. He doesn't look like he even has a grip or the ability to gel this team. He's right. I'll give him that. It's a marathon. Yeah, absolutely. The NBA season is a marathon. It is a long 82-game season. It's a marathon, but as the season goes along, you got to start making some adjustments and you got to start making some improvements. And that's not the case that we've had with him. So if he wants, if he wants to be right about that point, absolutely. You're right, Darvin. It is a marathon, but in throughout this marathon, you got to maybe pick up your speed a little bit, maybe realize what you did in the past and start changing it. And he's just honestly simply not doing it. One question I did want to pose to you guys really quick, and Stone, I know I mean, we've all been pretty, heavy on Darvin Ham, and deservingly so, right? I mean, I feel like the games that he does mess up, we let him have it and tell him where he messed up. But the games he does, he does perform well. We give him his flowers. But what I want to know is, like, okay, maybe Jeannie, maybe Rob supporting him, whatever the case may be. But like, if we did let him go, and this is one question I've asked Joe, Gerald, Magic Man, and all the guys, right? But one thing I want to hear from you is, like, if we did let him go, who would we bring in? Who would you want to bring in?
Who would I want to bring in? Who we would bring in? I think are two very different answers. True. Unfortunately, who I would want to bring in is I would ask permission to interview multiple assistants from other teams, because I don't think we have the answer within our own organization. I think that the big issue we always have is we hire within. That's what we always do. I mean, Ham has prior assistant coach ties to the Lakers. It's always, do they have a Lakers tie? And then we can bring him in. And ironically enough, the championship we won was with Vogel, who had no Lakers ties. I think we need to look for a young coach who has, experience making adjustments, someone that is able to prepared for multiple different things. We saw tonight, Ham is not prepared for zones. You need someone that is learned a lot from other coaches and has, experience with multiple different things. I don't think you're going to get that within the Lakers, because all the assistants were handpicked by Ham as well. So I don't really trust his decision-making enough to hire from within. So I'd like to, get permission to interview other young coaches around the league. You see what Daignault is doing with OKC, what Hardy's doing with the Jazz. I think maybe some of their assistants might be worth looking into, but I don't think it's one of the fancy names like everyone always says, like Sam Cassell or, some big name like that. Mm-hmm. I think it's probably a name that most of us have never heard of before is probably ultimately what the real answer is. And I don't think that name exists on our roster.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is John Costa from the Lakers Corner, Stone, Hansen, and Joe Soro, Simblades with a Y.com. The Lakers unfortunately lose 127-113. So I bring it back to you, Joe. When you see this kind of performance, again, they're on their home court doing this. After 2 days off, they just absolutely floundered against Miami, had another day off, and they floundered against a team that's 11-23. Absolutely, no more excuses. I don't want to hear any more excuses. You don't want to hear more excuses. It's just absolutely one of the worst times that we've seen in recent times for us here as Lakers fans. This has got to be a low, especially with LeBron and AD playing so well, both above 30 points today.
Well, the old adage is if you can identify a problem, you can also create a solution. Besides the word pathetic, depressing is the next word that can describe this team, because it looks like there isn't a solution, at least not this year. Maybe at the end of the year. I have never seen, I might be wrong, I have never seen someone get interviewed while they're coaching to go to another team. It might have happened. I just don't remember it. And the PR, storm from that would be pretty bad, because now word gets out, hey, they're interviewing the main assistant to Will Hardy in Utah. Now Darvin Ham's like, what? And now there's strife. Now he's going, oh, F you. I'm just going to sit here and do what I've been doing anyways. So there is no solution, unfortunately, folks. The only way that this thing can change is if for some reason the Lakers players decide that they can stop getting injured and start playing consistent ball. But I don't know if that's possible either. So that's probably the hardest part here. We're going to have to do this show at a game by game basis. We can't keep falling into the same rhetoric of we need to get rid of Darvin Ham. We need to get rid of this guy. We need to get rid of that guy. it's just not realistic. Even if they do get rid of Darvin Ham, it's just not going. We're pretty tapped into the league. Who are they going to bring? My guess is if they lose, they go on a 10-game losing streak. There is a chance he gets let go, and all they're going to do is let Phil Handy finish out the season. I just don't think they're going to go find anybody. Not Doc Rivers, not Terry Stoltz, none of those guys. It's just Stotts. So it's going to get it's going to get worse, likely, than better. And we're going to have to accept the fact that I misdiagnosed this team this year. I thought this was going to happen next year. I thought they had one last shot this year because mentally everyone was on board, right? They were in San Diego, grab-assing, ass-slapping. Anytime you hear that, by the way, folks, when someone brags about working when they're supposed to work, or, hey, I take care of my family, right away, there's something you can learn out of this. Right away, be very suspect of those people because those are the ones that started the participation awards years ago. And it's become an epidemic of mediocrity. It's a mediocre way of looking at things. And if you're too hard, and I'm going to, you all want to rant, I'm going to throw a little quick rant here. I've said it before, and I'm going to bring it back. A lot of people were kissing Kobe's rear end after he retired. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread. This is before he passed away. I'm talking about after. He is the greatest. He had a 60-point game. Oh, my God, Kobe. But what were they saying 3 years before then? For 3 years. Ball hog. Took too much money. It debilitated the team. All that stuff. You posers. You fake freaking chumps. I don't forget that stuff. I pay attention. When someone talks to you, whether it's online or not, I pay attention. Because y'all get into the fields and you want to kind of be with the crowd, right? It's easy. So no, I'm not buying it. And what you're seeing now is I could have gone on a bigger rant, but I think I've made my point. But I think this two-faced type dialogue is it's done. At least it's done here for me. We've identified that we are just not, or I should say the Lakers are not going to compete for a championship. They may fix some things and get into the play-in, but they are not winning a championship the way they're playing right now. And I think everybody needs to come to grips with that and understand that the LeBron AD era of winning championships is over. And they don't have the nuts to trade LeBron in his last year. I don't want them to trade AD. As a matter of fact, I'd like to give us at least a shot and get some talent around AD, see how he does by himself. I know it might not, bring a championship, but at least you have one guy that you can rely on. Otherwise, it's going to be just a bottom dweller team, just like we saw between 2015 and 2017, which is just, I don't really want to live around that kind of life of losing and being happy because we want to get a draft pick. So yes, it's coming, guys. And the way the system has been put together here, just like when they implemented the zone after the Lakers three-peated, just like when the collective bargaining agreement in 2005 and in 2011 made it much harder to trade and acquire. And then on top of that, even when they did make an acquisition, it didn't work out because of a veto. Whether it was the David Stern's fault or not, whether it was the Lakers' fault or not, doesn't matter. Either way, it didn't happen, and now we're screwed because we could have probably had a few more championships in that time. Now we're dealing with an organization that has always had issues bringing in leaders to coach the team, and that's you're not going to go anywhere if you're not going to be able to play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. LeBron at still being very, very valuable, and AD in his prime, then you're really not. You shouldn't even be an assistant coach. I wouldn't even hire him as an assistant coach, to be honest. I'd hire him to be the equipment guy. Honestly, I don't want that guy coaching my guys anywhere. I'm sorry, but it's true. What are you going to tell? What are you going to tell Max Christie? What are you going to tell Max Christie? I'm going to go back to this.
Have fun in Vietnam.
I want you guys, if you DVR'd the game, I want you to go back to when Max Christie passed the ball backwards. I think it was in the third quarter. Did you look at Darvin Ham? Usually guys that are rookies and second-year guys, usually they're the ones getting yelled at.
I saw Cam
Nothing.
Reddish. Well, hold on. I saw Cam Reddish walking to the scores table because I thought he was going to pull him, and he went right back to the bench.
I did see that too, actually.
Yeah.
No leadership, all excuses, because there's nothing else, folks. He's not good enough. And the Lakers around LeBron and AD are not good enough. And I'm sorry to say this, LeBron, even when he was in his prime, was really never really a leader. The leader I would want. He's too soft. He's a leader if you have a scale, because he's the number one guy and blah, blah, blah. But the results of LeBron James's career stands on his ridiculous talent. You look at, let's say, someone like Kobe. I'll give you guys a little bit of an analysis here. Kobe didn't really have that high of a vertical compared to his companions, his constituents, right? Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, guys like that, right? Heck, even pound for pound, even at AI. So you also have a guy that wasn't really fast, really quick, but what made him a legend was the unbelievable work ethic that was on par with, at least from what I saw, Jerry Rice. People would talk about Jordan. I'm like, no. Jordan was, don't worry, don't get me wrong. Jordan was dedicated to the game, but Jordan had a natural gear that took him to a lot of his things too, with his hard work. No one has worked harder, at least from what I've seen, than Jerry Rice and Kobe Bryant in the years I've been watching sports. And those are both players that were very good coming out of college, but they weren't the elite. They weren't elite, but they became elite because of that work ethic. And if you're not going to take pride in what you're doing here, if you're putting your hands up in the air, maybe it's time for you to go. Maybe it's time for you to go and go play. Because I get mad at Gerald for this because I'm tired of hearing it. Okay. I don't,
You get mad at me for everything.
Well, I'm talking about the NBA. Okay. So make sure you guys listen. I know some of you guys have a problem listening. I'm not talking about most of the people on the chat. I'm talking about there's a couple people out there that don't pay attention.
That's one of our bigger.
I don't care about siblings, a person's family, when it comes to the NBA game. I don't care. I don't care what he's doing at college. I don't care about that.
It's not personal.
This is the same type of mentality that drives me nuts. It's the hypocrisy of things. When you don't want attention, you get mad at those who are criticizing and doing things and all that, right? But then when you want publicity, here, look, he's wiping his rear end at this gas station. Yay, good job wiping your rear end at this gas station, right? No. I don't care about anything other than watching my team and the players be effective in the game. I don't care where they go out to eat after the game. I don't care who they're with. I don't care. I want this team to win. And when your focus is on other things like that, your leadership means dick. It means dick. You're getting paid $50 million to wrangle this up. Otherwise, go find someone else. Take a pay cut. Go play in Orlando or New Orleans and wait for someone to get drafted or picked up as a free agent so everybody can have the together. Screw that. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this soft ass BS. I'm tired of it. Focus. Win. I see a lot of people giving up. That's the problem. They're giving up during the game. They get frustrated. It's okay when you're 20-10 and it's a January game. I get that. It's a long season. But when you're 17-18 coming into a game where you got waxed by an inferior team at home because they were able to run a certain defense that you should be able to break. You're an NBA goddamn team. Well, you didn't learn your lesson and you got smacked around the entire fourth quarter because that coach actually coached. That coach was playing with you for 3 quarters. As soon as that third quarter ended and it was tied, he goes, watch this. Puts in the zone. Lakers couldn't do diddly squat. He set him up. Just like a shark at a pool billiards place. Got his beer, lost a couple games, then up the money, boom. Took their lunch. They're sitting there laughing. Desmond Bain is like, Ha 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 ha. Wasn't even a normal laugh. It was like a Joker laugh. Like in your own building, you're letting somebody do that to you? Well, not, come on, give me a break. $50 million a year for what? I feel bad for AD. He's trying, but what are you gonna do? No one else is good enough or trying enough. And of course, the coach is not setting him up the right way. And this is the reality of things. And we're going to be talking about this every day until the season ends. And we're going to find out around mid-March whether this team's actually going to make the playoffs. I'm scared that we're going to find out we're not making the playoffs in mid-March. That's the hell are we going to talk about for a month?
If you're still of the disillusion that we have a chance at the championship, the fact that we're questioning if we can even make the play-in should give you your answer. If we can't even answer the question whether we're going to make the play-in, then there's zero chance we have at a championship. So doesn't matter what we do, doesn't matter what changes we make this season, there is no chance at a championship. That's all false hope. We're not going to go anywhere. This team's pathetic. I mean, the Pistons even have young players to look forward to. We don't have anything. This is a desolate island. It's crap basketball, crap ownership. Everything about it sucks. So yeah, I mean, the rest of the season's going to suck too. So
I want to say one more thing. So when LeBron gets angry and he storms off for the press conference,
he actually ignored the press.
You criticize him there too. So now the problem with LeBron is he cares about what other people think. He doesn't
just said
say
we suck right now. His quote is "We suck right now."
Okay, that's fine. But the reality is, he's getting killed either way. That's why I don't trust media, people in general. That's why you got to be one way every time, no matter what you do in life. You got to be one way. One way. Don't go this way or that way. Straight. Be who you are, because it's going to be a little less. It's not going to be as rigorous in terms of worrying about or having people just constantly on you for, well, you did this day and then you did that day. No, if you're straight arrow, you're going to be a straight arrow. When I hate using Kobe as an example. Forget Kobe right now. I'm not going to use that. It's a lost time. We're not getting that back. Let's say we're going to talk about who is the equivalent of, let's say, a little old school and a little new school. Let's use Chris Paul as an example. That's the one.
Who just fractured his hand tonight and to be out because he's going to get surgery next week.
So Chris Paul, for a long time, had the dual culture, the new with the old thinking, and because he played with Blake Griffin and guys like the center for the Clippers. I'm drawing a blank here.
Zubats.
Not Zubats. The one
DeAndre Jordan.
That's it, Jordan. So
DeAndre
Jordan, so
Blake Griffin, all that.
Right. So those guys, they couldn't handle the criticism from their leader. They became kind of divas about it. If they took that rubbing and improved themselves, the Clippers probably go to the finals during that time. Whether they win or not, I don't know, but they probably would have won or gotten to the finals because they did have talent, and Blake Griffin had ridiculous talent. So I'm trying to figure out what. I don't think we're ever going to get that back. And I think that might be ultimately what the problem is, too. It's just that we're expecting something that's just not going to happen anymore. They're going to let these guys kind of do what they want and hope whoever gets through the salmon run, okay, cool, they won.
If I could jump in here real quick.
Absolutely.
Look, so two things. So Stone, to your statement about letting people know there's absolutely no chance for us winning the championship. I just want to back that because, I mean, if you look at teams historically that's won a championship or teams that's even been championship contenders, they've been right anywhere of top 5 to top 10 in defense efficiency and offensive efficiency. Right now, we're the 21st best team in defensive efficiency and 23rd in offensive efficiency. Mind you, we're a bit better on offensive efficiency than the Washington Wizards, who I believe have won 5-6 games right now. So that's even to add to that, Stone. So I'm right there with you. And then Joe, and a bit also, to kind of interact and talk with the chat a little bit too. Joe, your rant, a lot of the things you said were perfect and spot on. And then, some people in the chat, as usual, they sometimes they take it to another level and talk about trade LeBron, get him out of here and all this and all that. So just kind of want to ask you, I hear what you're saying and it makes sense. but I just feel like there's no trade where we're gonna, offload LeBron James and then get something in return where we're like, wow, all right, I feel good about this. Like, so what to you is like, what would be the route you want to go that way? Or were you just kind of just talking about that? You don't want to trade LeBron?
At some point I started rambling because I was pulling for straws. I couldn't, it's going back to what I said. There isn't a solution. It's the rules of the league don't allow you to make certain trades that would likely help this team this late in the season. So we're really just pounding our heads on the wall. We're just entertaining a group. We're just talking about things that likely will just not be solved because it's not physically possible. It's not. We can't go get a third star and a good perimeter player. They make 40, 50, $30 million. And that's the reality of this. It's a ramble at some point. I can make a good point, but then after about a minute or so, it starts to get into this point in my head where I'm like, what the hell am I saying? This is just, there's no end to this. There's no conclusion. So in this sport, it's one of the few things in life is let's say here, that there isn't a solution. If you're doing terribly at work, there's a couple of things you can do to, immediately to where you can help yourself get out of some ruts and things like that. And then at the same time, there's also a time where you're like, look, I got to hang this up. I gotta, call it a day. Well, we can't even do that. What are you going to do? Trade LeBron to who? Who's going to pay $50 million? And who are they going to trade for him?
Well, that's something Stone had mentioned. Well, let me say this. That's something Stone mentioned on our playback coverage, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. And something I wanted to ask you, Stone, is something like trading LeBron, because remember, I told you that the organization would never want to trade LeBron because of the PR thing, and that LeBron would only want to be traded if he wants to be traded. But you said that the Lakers should look at that as an option.
Yeah, I mentioned this, I think, as after the 2020 season on this show of, we shouldn't just be so quick to say, oh, we'll never trade these guys. These guys are untouchable, because as soon as you say someone's untouchable, you're saying I'm avoiding doing my job by looking at other options. That's something you should never do. And now I'm fully on board of trade LeBron James, not because of his play, because of the fact that I think there's a greater than 25% chance that he walks this season as takes his player option and says, you know what, Bronny's in this draft. I'll take a massive pay cut and go play somewhere else. I'm a billionaire. I'm going to go play with my kid for the final couple of years. I mean, and we're not giving him, if we're in a contending championship sort of place, I don't think that happens at all. I think there's 100% chance he opts in and plays with us. If we're at the very best case right now, it looks like we get bumped in the first round. Like, that's best case scenario. What's the incentive for him to stay? I mean, if you're going to lose, you might as well lose playing with your son, right? Like, so why take the chance of him walking away this offseason and just get whatever you can for him? Or just lose him for nothing. Because I think that percentage is greater than, I think it's above 25% that he walks. And to me, that's an uncomfortable percentage to be at. So I would heavily consider moving him because, I mean, look, you're not going to get a third star. You're not going to get equal value for him. We know that. You're just not. You're not going to get equal value for LeBron on the trade market. But you're not going to get what you need to win a championship by keeping him either. So if he is going to walk, you might as well just get what you can and move forward with that. Otherwise, you're playing with him if he were to opt in, which again, there's a chance he just walks away, and then you have nothing after that year, right? Because he's going to probably leave after that year. So to me, it's take what you can while you can. It's never going to happen. And you don't get me wrong. The Lakers are not going to trade LeBron. They're not going to trade AD. I'm not saying that they will, because they won't. And this is always been the problem. We're too late on everything. We're too late to fire Darvin Ham. We're too late to make a trade. We're too late to trade Westbrook. We're going to be too late to trade LeBron. He's going to walk for nothing, whether it's this year or next. And we're going to be stuck, with our hands in our pockets like Darvin Ham and nothing to show for it. I mean, that if he walks out the door, that's 2 or 3 first-round picks someone would be willing to give for him that you just lost for nothing. So I think, I don't know, to me, the mathematical equation, it just makes more sense to get what you can, because you're not going to get what you need to win a championship while he's on the roster. That's just the way I view it. But it's not going to happen.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do lose 127-113. They fall to 17-19 on the season. They're now in 11th place in the Western Conference. John, let me bring it back to you tonight. As far as what we saw we've talked about all season about, maybe we should play this guy. Should maybe play this guy. The Lakers not doing well because they're not playing this guy. Or they're playing this guy. Well, tonight, we talked about actually on Wednesday, Prince and Reddish giving you Zippo and Vanderbilt not giving you much more than that. Tonight, Vanderbilt coming off the bench, nothing. Max Christie giving you virtually nothing at 2 points. Christian Wood was our only offense coming off the bench, and he had 11, a whopping 11. And then you have Cam Reddish and Taurean Prince. They're 18 points tonight after whopping 0 the previous night. That's still only 9 points between them. That's still not going to get it done. When you only have 3 players essentially scoring the basketball, John, that is absolutely not going to get it done.
Absolutely. No, it's not going to get it done. And this is barely better than I believe you were referring to the Minnesota game when they had donuts, and I believe it was Anthony Davis and LeBron who were the only two who scored, I believe in double digits. So I mean, this supporting cast, honestly, man, like it's just throughout the year, throughout the season, it's just been letting me down so like more and more and more and more. Because I remember, last season, the reason why we made the Western Conference Final was because like we were so deep, right? You didn't know who was going to give you 20 that night. If it was LeBron, Rui, or you knew LeBron and AD were a constant, but D'Lo might go off that game or Rui might go off, and then now. Like all that, and the crazy thing is we were in theory supposed to have only gotten deeper this offseason, adding 3-and-D players like Taurean Prince, adding Cam Reddish in the beginning of the season. Like a lot of people gave him all this hype, and I feel it's because Darvin Ham just kept giving him chance after chance after chance, because him and Taurean Prince just have the world's longest leash. After going for a donut, you mean to tell me next game they both get 32 minutes plus? That's crazy to me. And then Christian Wood, or I know D'Angelo Russell, has his faults and inconsistencies, but the second he makes a mistake, next game 17 minutes. Christian Wood doing good for us. Maybe he has a defensive lapse. All of a sudden, boom! Now you're out for the rest of the game. Play 16 minutes.
16 minutes. Yes.
Exactly. So. To me, and again, we don't need to keep going on this, but it just ends up falling on coaching, right? Because there's Cam, there's Taurean doing the same old things that they did these past games, and no strike, no punishment, just still go ahead, just keep kind of how Stone was saying. They're just like, go ahead, just keep doing it, it's gonna work, just keep doing it. And now we're sitting outside of the play-in. And it hasn't worked at all. And this supporting cast is letting LeBron down. I've seen around social media, they're saying that this Lakers team is just abandoning LeBron and AD. And I agree, man. We got LeBron James at 39. He's having bad games, but he's still playing at a crazy level. We've seen
scored
at
30 plus today.
There you go. Anthony Davis putting up a great season.
30 plus today.
Exactly. Putting up a great season. But most of all, to me, he's staying healthy. He's playing. He's out there. So when he's out there, like, you would hope that the role players could do what they could do just to help him and help LeBron. And honestly, it hasn't happened. So I'll go back to Stone's word of pathetic. These role players and this team is pathetic.
And so that's let me ask you this. Go ahead, Stone.
I was just going to say it's a good point that they're both healthy. This isn't like both guys are not known to be, the most available. And now that you have a season where both are healthy, playing most of the games, or if not all, I haven't looked, but a large percentage of the games so far this season, and now you're wasting it, and there's no guarantee. I mean, I would, odds are, if we look historically, that means both are probably due to miss a lot of time next year if they return next year. I mean, that's just the odds. Anything can happen, but so you're betting on these guys staying healthy. for next year, if it doesn't work out this year. You're betting on him staying healthy. You're betting on LeBron opting in. You're betting on coaching to miraculously get better. You're betting on for some miracle with the role players. That's a lot of bets to make. For me, the way I view it is get what you can while you can, and just we don't have our picks. We don't have all our picks, but start over, start fresh, because what we have is not going to get us to where we want to be. That's just the way I view it. A lot of people don't want to hear it. A lot of people are going to get mad about it, but the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again. And we're trying this team, this roster, over and over again with the same results, and they're not getting any younger, and they're not. I mean, you don't know how healthy they're going to stay from year to year. So I would start over, but it's not going to happen.
Before I get Joe in here real quick, I want to ask you a question, John. You are known as a big supporter of D'Angelo Russell, and it's been said in recent episodes on other podcasts and other shows in regards to what if the Lakers had traded for Mike Conley instead of D'Angelo Russell? You see the improvement that Minnesota has made since they've gotten rid of D'Angelo Russell, who was better. They were a better team with him off the floor than on statistically last season before he got traded. Now D'Angelo Russell goes. They're a better team now. They're leading the Western Conference, and Mike Conley is running the team. What if Mike Conley had been traded to the Lakers instead of D'Angelo Russell?
Now, see, I would have loved that, and to answer that, I mean, I think that there was a lot of things that happened with that Timberwolves team. Anthony Edwards also took a huge jump. I don't think it was just simply D'Lo coming.
No, there's always factors, but like the Lakers, it's not just one factor.
Exactly.
It's just several factors.
But to answer that question, me personally, I would have loved Mike Conley because the reason why I like D'Lo and the reason why I was a big supporter of D'Lo was because I looked past the scoring. I was like, okay, well, the game isn't always just scoring. It's like, how can you set up your players who can play make, who can allow LeBron to not have to be on the ball all the time, not force LeBron to have to be the point guard. And out of everyone that we have on this team, I felt most comfortable with D'Angelo Russell being our playmaker. Like, besides LeBron, of course, but a point that we've made many times on this show is like, we cannot expect LeBron at 39 years old to be a point guard for our team for 82 game season. So that's out the window. Once playoffs comes, yes, I want the ball in LeBron's hand. I want him initiating the offense. But the reason why I was a big supporter of D'Lo is because of his playmaking ability. Now, Mike Conley has that same playmaking ability and more veteran savviness, a better shooter so far, has been more consistent scorer. So to answer that question, I would have loved it. I just wanted somebody to be able to take the pressure off LeBron, get some nice pick and rolls going with AD, get some easy buckets going for him, and allow LeBron to run the lanes. Because as we know, even at 39, LeBron James running downhill, it's not much nobody in this league could do. And if you have a good point guard like per se D'Lo or Mike Conley to hit him in stride while he's in the lane, that's gonna be a bucket 10 times out of 10. So I personally would have loved that, but I can't cry over spilled milk at this point.
At this point, though, you're right. Joe, let me bring it back to you. Is it any coincidence we've had two of our larger audiences of the season these past two games, with the Lakers going through so much turmoil? A lot of fans are starting to vent their frustrations. Do you find it a coincidence that's starting to happen right about now?
Sure. I could see a correlation. The sad thing about this situation at its core is the fact that the Lakers have never been able to fix the terrible decision on the Russell Westbrook trade. They
gave up quite a bit, didn't they?
You gave up a solid defender who could timely shoot in Kentavious Pope. You gave up a first-team all-defensive player and Alex Caruso. You didn't sign Kuzma or didn't keep Kuzma. So
here's your third option too.
Yeah, that ultimately, when you tell the story of the Lakers, the 2020 through 2000, let's say if I don't see LeBron leaving.
Because we've always talked about how Kuzma couldn't play alongside LeBron and AD. I think now
he could on the defensive end.
He could now play at that level.
And this is to the fault of even though they didn't make this decision, this is to the fault of the fans. because Kuzma wasn't a 40% shooter from three, people looked at only that as the dividing factor in his usefulness. The problem is he was actually long and had actually good team and individual defensive skills. So you got rid of three guys that could play defense on this team. They actually won a championship with those guys playing that way. And all these guys are young. They're not old, so you don't make that trade. I wish they had listened to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis said after 2021, let's run it back. They should have listened to him, but they panicked because these guys don't really work. They don't really work. They look at the media and the Sports Center. That's how they evaluate talent. The fallacy that they're great evaluators in the second round and all that. I started looking into that because you're looking at those factors as guys that are valuable for specific spots. But when you need those guys to be the difference makers, it's just not likely that that's going to be the case. You need those guys to be a supplemental part, not a primary part. And that's where I think a lot of times these guys who don't know what they're doing, they think these guys that have ascended from such bad late draft picks that they can be these stars. And maybe Jokic made him think that way. Jokic is a second round pick, yet he's one of the greatest centers that ever lived. So you got a couple things here that you can look at. Some that's not fair, some that's bad decision making, bad luck. There's a lot of things here that have fell on the Lakers that there's major fault. There's also just bad luck. There's also just bad timing. The rules, I'm going to keep going back to this. They didn't hassle at all last year when they signed this new CBA. So it looks like they don't care that it's difficult for these guys to win. They just want their money. Okay, if you want your money, then this is what you're going to have to deal with. And we're on the train to nowhere at this point, guys. And the train to nowhere means no title. And that's just something we have to come to grips with. We're going to be here every game. We'll maybe get a little bit happy when they win a game. Not really. But we'll analyze the game. We'll say what worked well. And that's it. I'll do a rant every now and then if I see something weird, But other than that, we're going to have to be careful that we're not repeating ourselves game in and game out. We're going to have to get something fresh in here. So that's where I stand on this.
Check it out. I don't think there's any chance we're going to trade for Kevin Durant because they haven't even seen all three of their main players play with each other for any long stretch of time as of yet. Stone, let me bring you back in here, though. When it comes to the organization where it stands right now, 17-19, 11th place in the Western Conference, I know we're putting a lot of heat on Darvin Ham. I know we're questioning a lot of things we've done. We've been doing it now for quite some time. We've been ahead of the train of almost every other show that's out there because almost every other show is just now picking it up. I want to ask, is there a bigger, higher ascension that you need to go ahead and look at in regards to the way the team is being run at a executive level that also is in need of a change at this point in time as well, Stone?
Absolutely. I mean, sell the team. it
would be nice.
When you follow the trail, it ultimately, very ultimately, comes back to Jeannie. She's the one that hired Pelinka. Why did she hire Pelinka? Because he had a very vital Lakers tie. And who did she consult? A former Laker, the Ramby, of should I make this hire? She didn't know what hire to make, which is kind of pathetic on its own. So she had to ask someone else, and that someone else happens to be former Laker with vital Laker ties, and goes, you know what? Let's keep the nepotism running and hire Pelinka, who's never been any sort of management role. He's only been an agent up until now. So they hire him, throw him into the fire. They win 2020, and now apparently Jeannie just thinks that's good enough forever. That legacy is enough to keep him on the payroll until the wheels fall off, because he's done nothing since then that makes you believe in him as a general manager. I mean, really, he hasn't. He hired Frank Vogel. He made a good trade to get rid of Westbrook, and that good trade is only because he dug that hole in the first place. And now when you look at the trade, it's a guy who left in free agency in Malik Beasley, who played badly when he was for us, D'Angelo Russell, who's very up and down, and Vando, who's been mostly down this season. And so it's not like he did this home run trade when he made it. It's that he just got off the massive negative that was Westbrook that he brought in initially also. So, and then when you look at, who hired him, it's Pelinka, and who approves of the hire, it's Genie. Ultimately, I mean, if the coaching is this bad, who hired the coach? Pelinka. All right. If the roster is this bad, who made all the roster moves? Pelinka. Who hired the person to make all these moves? Who hired Pelinka? Genie. That's where it all leads back to, right? The fault lies within the entire organization. This isn't all on Darvin Ham. This isn't all on the Lakers roster. This isn't all on Pelinka. It's a shared, distributed wealth
top to bottom.
It starts at the top. It always starts at the top. And it's, I don't have faith we're going to win a championship with Darvin Ham. I have very small faith that we're going to win a championship with Rob Pelinka as the GM ever again. And I have that same amount of small faith that we'll ever win because Genie owns the team. So honestly, I mean, I don't have a ton of faith that we're going to win a championship until Genie is no longer the owner. I mean, that's ultimately where I stand.
John, let me bring you back in here before we head on out, my friend. When it comes to the Lakers, LeBron is actually in post-game conference. He's saying that we suck. He is owning up to it. We hear excuses from everyone else. His quote was, "We suck right now," and that he also framed the in-season tournament as only 2 games. And he's like in alignment with Joe in that we should not provide these excuses continually because it's worthless.
It's 1 game.
So, well, he said 2. So
it's not 2 though. It's 1.
He meant the 2 in Vegas, just being in Vegas for those 2 games. But need I digress? But yeah, I mean, for that, it's just the organizational issue. The organization as a whole, I've always said the organization, it's a reflection. The season and how we're going is usually a reflection of how the organization is being run. And if there are problems with the organization and their record right now, a lot of it you can tie into not just the coach, the players, but the executives as well, and the ownership. It has to be a shared blame. Your thoughts on where the Lakers stand with a 17-19 record and 11th place in the Western Conference?
I'm glad somebody on this team that has some type of leadership level is taking some type of accountability. Like that's what would have been dope to hear Darvin Ham say. Like, we suck. Not see Darvin Ham saying, "Oh, I'm tired of seeing everybody live and die over our wins and losses." What? That's not the type of response you need to have after you just got killed by a zone in the last 2 games and didn't make no adjustments. Are you crazy? That the reaction and the comment that LeBron had, that's the type of like accountability I was hoping and expecting him to take, man. So, I mean, LeBron is spot on. Right now, we suck. Outside of LeBron and AD, we suck. They're letting them down. And organizationally wise, man, I always talk about this with my brother. Like, Rob Pelinka, he'll make a good move and then disappear. It was like he'll make a good move and then just be gone for the next 2 years. And then he did the AD
well, he doesn't
thing.
have the track record. That's something I've always said on the show. Up until that trade deadline, or let's say the Rui Hachimura trade, which came a couple weeks beforehand. Up until then, he did not have a very good track record. Russell Westbrook trade, anyone? So there you go. He's not had a good track record up until that point. So we're talking about one small period of time where he did well enough to get the team in a position to go far in the playoffs. Outside of that, it's not been a very good time for Rob Pelinka overall. If you had to give him a grade, your grade shouldn't be very high for Rob Pelinka at this point.
Absolutely, it should not be very high at all. I mean, like I said,
and when it goes bad, where's Rob Pelinka? Do you see him on those pictures? Do you see him on the video on the phone? Do you see him on the video?
He's over there in the tunnel. He's over there in that little tunnel where it's like super dark. He's over there in the little tunnel, dark, hiding. And honestly, it even goes higher than Rob. I mean,
he even hides in the Lakers presentation when it goes bad. When you notice in those official Lakers presentations they have out there, like last year, he was nowhere to be found. You can't find him. You can't say, but when they're winning, oh
He's
yeah,
out
you
there.
could see he's out there. You
He's
can
out
see
there.
him.
No, absolutely. No, I'm with you for that, Gerald.
You
And
see him more on Joe's face when he goes and does his thing. He does his Halloween costume, and he puts the picture of Rob Pelinka in front of his face. You see him more then.
Exactly. He does. He needs to also take some more accountability in line with Darvin Ham. But I think Stone was doing a great job earlier of like doing like the family tree of like how of who to blame, right? And I think it starts at the absolute top with the Bus family. And the biggest issue, and I think I've said this on this show before, the biggest issue is that the Bus family have no other businesses besides this Lakers team. They have nothing else going on. Like Mark Cuban, the owner of the Clippers, they got all the owner of the Clippers, I believe he's the owner of like Microsoft or something like that. And then Mark Cuban, we know what he had, like he sold that huge website, burned like the .com boom or whatnot. But
he just sold a great majority of the Dallas, but retained power in doing so. Yes,
exactly. But
Cake and eat it too.
All these guys, like they have other money coming in, so they're like, you know what, I'm not tripping about going into luxury tax, I'm not tripping about overpaying a player, because you know what, I'm here to win, and that's what I want to do. The Bus family are here to make a living, are here to stay above the water. I'm sure running the Lakers is
I disagree with you in the sense that, remember, Jerry Buss came up as a real estate mogul as well. He was very invested in real estate, with Donald Sterling. You saw the stories there and all that as far as that's concerned, but he was still very much tied to real estate. But if Jeannie Buss sold tomorrow, do you not think she would be set for life? Do you not think that what, Forbes evaluating this team as around $8 or $9 billion, depending on who you talk to, do you think the bidding war would not go above that? Do you think she would not be set for life for like 10, 20 lives down the line if she sold right now?
She absolutely would, but which then makes me feel like, well, Jeannie, just go ahead and sell that team. If it's about just staying good, just go ahead and sell that team. But maybe it's a power trip. Maybe it's something that she wants to keep, because I know like it was
because
the family's
of the
own
association
business.
with her dad.
Yeah, it's family-owned business. Like I understand that part, but it's like at this point, you're just pissing everyone else off, because I feel like if we had good management, and I've heard players talk about this all the time, when management, when the higher ups really care about the team, really care about winning, like the players can feel that, and the players then go out and produce that energy on the court because they know that it's more than just a business. And to the Bus family, I'm not even on the court, and I can see this is just a business.
I mean, you could liken it to the WWE. For years, owned by Vince McMahon. He would never sell. He would rather die than go ahead and sell or do anything. That's what you heard for years and years and years, passing it down as far as to Shane or Stephanie McMahon, yada, yada, yada. Well, suddenly TKO comes along, offers them $9 billion to go ahead and sell. He takes the money, and there you go. So again, don't tell me, John, and I don't mean this to you literally, but don't tell me, anyone out there, that, it's that they can't live without, owning the Lakers. They would be fine without owning the Lakers. It's what Jeannie wants to do in honor of her dad. That's, to me, I think that's the motivation why she's still owning the team. I think it's more, as far as the relationship she had with her dad, which is admirable. But then again, if you see your organization not performing at the best, because when you look at her under her ownership and also her brother's ownership, how many years have the Lakers made the playoffs in those years? What is the ratio? Yes, we won a championship, but what is the actual ratio of success during that period of time, John?
It's not very high. I'll
It's
tell
like
you
under 40%. Gotta be, right?
Yeah.
It's not very high. So yeah, like how you said,
it is one title. It is one title, Sean. Yes, but how many playoff runs had they had during the period of time after Dr. Buss has passed away?
Couldn't even tell you. But like how Stone said, I know it's under 40%, and I've been watching these seasons, and I mean these past seasons, and I just know it's been horrendous, to be honest with you.
We probably have more play-ins than playoffs at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the other thing is, like, when you watch Media Day, they signed all these players under false pretenses. Christian Wood, when he signed, they asked him, why did you sign? He's like, oh yeah, Darvin Ham told me I'm going to have a big role on this team. And then D'Angelo was like, yeah, I can tell they have a lot of faith in me this time around. And they said all these things that are completely counter to what's happening now. And Lakers corner mentioned it in the sort of beginning. There's a lot of trust issues, and these guys are no longer like, as soon as the offseason hits, none of these guys are going to want to stay here. If you promised them all this stuff and you're doing the complete opposite, like they have no incentive to want to be here, especially when you're not winning. So all these guys are going to ask out, leave in free agency. You lied to them and you're not winning anymore because of it. So there's no incentive to stay. And there's the trust issue runs deep. I mean, they don't trust each other on the court because they never know from night to night who they're playing with, how many minutes they're playing, what role they're playing. They can't trust the coach. They can't trust, like I said, who they're playing with because they don't know who they're going to play with. So there's no continuity. Nobody trusts anybody. Nobody is looking forward to the future with this team. It's going to be very mediocre to bad, I think, for the next several years. I mean, that's just what it's going to be. There's not a whole lot of room to improve when, especially, we lost half of our picks moving forward because of the AD trade. So yeah, there's little hope for this team.
We got our one title and that's it. Is that what you're saying?
I strongly believe that. Yeah, I think we got our one title, and that's probably going to be our one title for this decade.
Joe, let me end the conversation with you right here. When it comes to one player I want to go ahead and sing out, he gave great effort in the second quarter. That was Jared Vanderbilt. We signed him to a 4-year contract near the beginning of the season. He is not eligible to be traded, unfortunately, because of the timing when he was signed. He's giving you, okay, let's put it this way. Yeah, he gave us great energy, but he scored 0 points in 17 minutes tonight. 0 points. And this is the guy whose actually scoring average on the year went down. Amazingly, it's now right around 2.5 points a game for a guy that's earning about $11 million a year for his extension for 4 years. Your thoughts on this, my friend? I think this, again, is just a category where, did you need to really make these decisions, Rob Pelinka, when you made them? Because it's really, these are the kind of things, it's not a huge contract, but still, these are just the little things that add up to what you're seeing right now.
The signing has more to do with the fact that you have leverage in a trade than actually quality of the player. We're not, if we just let him go, you don't get anything out of him. But by having what will be $36 million left on his contract at the end of the year, that's something you can package in the summer and get somebody maybe that would matter. Or
do you think another team would like a guy that?
Probably not. It would have to be the only way the Lakers get a player that they need is if another team needs to unload a massive contract. That's it. No one's going to trade quality for trash. Sorry to say, but we talk about Max Christie being a non-NBA player. I'll be honest, man. I don't think Vando's an NBA player either. I think he should go to Europe. He is absolutely terrible. He is a scared puppy. And I don't, to me, I get flashbacks of Kwame Brown when I see him play. And at the very least, back when the Kwame played, the system and the league was set up a certain way where he could work. If Kwame Brown had been playing in this era, he would have lasted 1 year and been cut and never seen again. And that's who he is. He is a guy that is athletic, that is tall, that does have some attributes on defense, but for every stop he makes, he allows 5-6 points because he's too afraid to shoot. Simple layups, dive to the basket. When my favorite part of the offense is when they give the ball to AD at the 21-foot area by the corner three. That, I can't tell you guys how much fun that is when you set up an offense with AD hovering around the 3-point line and basically telling the other team, go ahead and trap him because we want to suck. I mean, if I didn't know any better, I think that Darvin Ham's throwing these games with those decisions. How do you give AD, continually give AD the ball 20 feet from the basket? Why? Are they dropping coverage? Are they, okay, so create an offense where you can free him up. That's how it works. AD's athletic enough to do that. But I don't think the talent can do it with a combination of the fact that Darvin Ham can't devise that particular setup with the players that he has available. I don't know what to say, guys. It's not good. It's just going to get worse. And the future, as far as Genie selling the team, look, guys,
not going to happen.
$10 billion and then sitting and doing nothing does nothing for you. At some point, when you can buy anything, I know that's not true for everybody, but if I'm a owner of the Lakers, I'm not selling the team either. I'm already rich. What do I need $10 billion for? So I can go vacationing every weekend? That gets boring after a while. I want a challenge. I want competition. But the problem is, and Kobe gave his blessing for Rob Pelinka, and I'm gonna have to, sorry, Darren, I'm gonna have to say something negative about Kobe here. So I want to close your ears. There's a reason why you don't let the greats typically make those kind of decisions. If you look at the history of great players, they're usually not good coaches and they're usually not good executive decision makers because they're thinking like the way they think. You can't think that way when you're an executive, and that's why Jerry Krause was resentful of the Michael Jordan, Pippen players, because if it wasn't for Jerry Krause, Pippen would have been stuck in Seattle. He wouldn't have been a Bull, and he was never appreciative of that, according to Jerry Krause. He drafted Horace Grant. He traded Charles Oakley, who was a fan favorite, for a center that they desperately needed. And he surrounded Michael Jordan with the perfect complementary players. Granted, Jordan got everything out of those guys. He was a big part of it. But the executives and the coaching have to set the table for those guys. And that's what the executive's job is to do. And then after a while, and this is the problem, guys, with ego, when you were so upset that you weren't appreciated, then you start making mistakes because all you keep thinking about is getting the pats on the back. If I had to give any advice to anyone out there to listen, F getting patted on the back. Okay? The hell with it. It doesn't mean dick. Well, hey, good job. What does that do? What does that do? What is that going to do for you? Hey, good job. Hey, it makes you feel good, right? That's probably why. But how about you just continue to do your job and you'll never have to worry about the negative part of it. But the Lakers are in a position right now where they have an owner that doesn't, and really the owners are not supposed to really be in gyms and analyze that. They're the owners. They are supposed to hire the right people. The problem is she apparently didn't hire the right people.
She has an office right above where they practice.
Do you think Kurt Rambis is in high school gyms? Is he there? I know that the bus kids are.
I have seen this in person. Yes.
Okay, but I'm going to be honest. Bus kids versus Bob Myers. Who's going to win that? I'm not. And look at Bob Myers. The second the inmates started taking over the asylum, he bounced. Because at that point, what are you doing? What's next? I'm going to just keep getting shot down for doing things that are supposed to help the team. There is a loyalty set up here. The loyalty is this, and Jerry West said this a lot, and he said it. I remember that when after Kobe passed, he was with the panel of Shaq and Kenny Smith and the guys at TNT, and he said, "You never lie to a player. That's the loyalty you have to have. Don't be that piece of crap that says, "Oh no, we're not trading you," and then you trade them the next hour. These guys have families. They have schools for their families, so at least you can be loyal to that. This is somewhat of a relationship. The least you can do is prepare the people. That's why everybody loved Jerry West. But when you are afraid to tell somebody the truth, this is the kind of stuff that happens. So Kobe Bryant vouched for Rob Pelinka. Unfortunately, Rob is an agent. He is not an executive. He is not going to be evaluating talent. You bet. I would right now. If somebody came to me and said, "Hey, I want you to decide on who the next GM is." It's the guy. It's the guy right here. It's Stone Hansen. The guy that's. If you give him the opportunity to go to. Stone. If you go into the, this guy spent 13 hours a day looking at. God, you guys have any idea how boring watching high school and college basketball is? That's probably the one that I couldn't believe. I'm like, wait, Stone, you watch 13 hours of that stuff? Look, anyone that does that can go another level when you give them the ticket to get
He told you on
There.
playback that he'd only seen 20 movies in his life. He must be doing something,
because he's
Joe.
putting in the work. You don't have to worry about him going and looking at rom-coms with his girlfriend and hey, I have to go out and enjoy my time. No, he's in the gym virtually paying attention. And that's why he's rarely wrong on the evaluation. So unless you're going to get somebody like that, that's a lifer. They're out there. You just got to find them. Then you're going to play behind the 8 ball, unless, of course, LeBron and AD can cover the bases. But, again, the leadership part is a very interesting thing. You're going to tell me that some of these players on the team are not better than John Paxson and Steve Kerr? Why did those guys look like superstars back then? Why did guys
now you're hearing, Joe, you might be glad when you hear this. Now you're hearing about problems on Golden State with Steve Kerr. Like Kuminga is now upset with the way he's being utilized on the team. You hear Chris Paul, obviously, of course, just got injured. They're not doing much better than Lakers.
The Warriors are in the same spot that we're in right now.
Yep.
Same spot, really.
So the BS caught up to Steve Kerr, and it always does. What did I tell you guys? Okay, this is not a Pat Riley situation in 1990 where the Lakers are the number 1 seed and then get destroyed by the Phoenix Suns in the second round. And that was it for Pat Riley in LA. There is a moment where the voice starts to become mute for the players. In this case, Steve Kerr is probably that guy. And it's worse with Steve Kerr because he speaks in hyperbole a lot, and he's very, very deflective when things happen to him and very reactive when things happen with other people. He gets into other people's business. That's why Popovich lost Kawhi Leonard, because he's sending them to go watch, Bible movies or whatever it is that don't quote me on that, like things like that. He's like, dude, I'm just here to ball, And then to me, it's I get the chastising part. Like if he was soft and not getting yelled at.
That quote will be aggregated, by the way.
What was that?
That quote will be aggregated throughout the news cycles.
What do you mean?
About Kawhi and his Bible studies or Bible movies.
I think I'm thinking of Dennis Rodman in the early 90s.
Okay,
it's not Bible study of Kawhi. I think it had something else to do with, term papers or something. He was having them guys read something, and he's like, dude, I ain't gonna read. But that's the case, is you have to adapt to certain players.
It's like Phil Jackson with the books. He would put one in your locker and you read it or not.
No, most people didn't read it. Shaq admitted he didn't read the books. Even Kobe to some degree.
I love what he said.
Yeah. And that's again.
Shaq went to the drive-thru.
It's a fine line on what works and what doesn't. A lot of it is tailored to the talent executing what needs to get done. And if you have enough talent to cover the deficiencies of communication and coaching, then you're probably okay, especially in the NBA. You can get away with it. But when it's terrible coaching and then your players, even though they're talented, are not, getting the team in a position to play well at the same time, because players do play. Would you consider LeBron the CEO of this team? Is it the number 1 player on a team, usually the CEO? And then you have the board of directors with, Darvin Ham and Rob Pelinka and Jeannie, right? So the CEO is the guy that's supposed to make sure that the group is taken care of, the stuff's taken care of. Now, when you have players that are not playing well, what do? You get rid of them. You go that way. Now, the difference in this business versus any other normal business, you can't just get rid of anybody. It's got guaranteed contracts. You have to trade dollar for dollar. Most of the teams that are available this year to trade have guys that are making too much money and they're too suspect. Sports is different than regular business in a lot of ways because it's set up in a socialistic standpoint. It's about even. It's about when you're not making money here, the money go, and if you go over the money, you got to distribute it to the ones that didn't go over the cap and things like that. The thing that has made guys like Jim Irsay and Jeannie Buss and all these people relevant, or Alex Spanos, Dean Spanos, sorry, not Alex Spanos, he's passed away. The reason why these owners have stayed relevant is because the NFL and the NBA have such a foolproof TV contract set up that they make money whether they stink or not. And for them to sell the team, it has to be something where I just don't want to deal. I want to do something else. I want to do something else with my life. I don't want to deal with doing stuff like this. But what is Jeannie going to do? All she's done is basketball, and she likes the prestige. She likes the title of I'm the owner of the Lakers. And usually people that are more obsessed with the title usually don't do well.
Joe's right too. It's a multi-level symbiotic relationship is what the NBA is. It's not only within the organization, you have to have a symbiotic relationship between coach, players, coach, and management and ownership. But also, you're doing that with 29 other teams, because now when you need their help to offload a contract, you need to go through multiple different agents, multiple different, ownerships and management to facilitate that deal. Coaches have to write off on this deal. It's very much it's a massive ecosystem within the NBA of how things change. And the problem is when those things aren't clicking like they aren't with the Lakers right now, you're now forced to make that change. It's out of necessity. It's not out of, want. But the bottom of the line is, it's been a lot of fun for me to talk about what I still think is the best strategy of blow it up. I think start over. That I still, not just because I'm frustrated, I think ultimately strategically I find that to be the best route for us. But the reality is nothing's going to change. We're going to be here next game talking about these same things, and the game after that, and for the next 40 plus games, 50 plus games, doing the
Vicious
same
cycle.
thing. And no matter what we want, no matter how much we talk about this, we're just what we want won't happen. So that's the depressing part of it. Not the part that we're losing all these games, not the part that all this stuff is going wrong. It's the part that it's not going to change. That's what really is frustrating. And ultimately, I think is going to be really frustrating leading into a year from now, 2 years from now, and the rest of this season.
Before we go, John, I'm going to have you answer Tien's question, and then also make sure you give a plug on what's going on with your two great channels before we head on out. He's asking what should be the starting lineup moving forward, just as if, let's say, everyone is healthy. Let's say Rui gets back and also D'Lo gets back. Gabe, of course, is gone for weeks, but let's say you have almost everyone back. What would be your starting lineup at that point in time, my friend? And then also make sure you give a plug for what you're up to with your great channels as well, if you can.
Absolutely. So for my starting lineup, and I know some people may not feel this,
Joe's like getting the feels already.
From my starting lineup,
Go ahead, Joe. You're gonna no before John, because I'm gonna let John talk. I apologize, John, but when he gets in that,
I'm just glad you do it because I can't do it.
Okay.
I mean, I'll do it, but it's just
you'll do it if you want.
Your retail skills come out, and it's good in that realm. Me, yeah. Anyways,
my management skills. I've managed just more than retail. Special effects, studios.
I think it's just more the delivery.
I've done it all.
I think it's the delivery. It's like, John, I want to thank you for being alive.
Well, I want to make sure he's here sitting through 90 minutes of this dumpster fire that's known as the Lakers. He's got to go ahead and make sure he gets time to pitch his channels.
I'm just happy to be here, man. I love talking Lakers with you guys. It's the best post-game show all around town. But look,
it's a good thing, G. I'm not making fun of you. It's a good thing. I'm making light of it.
All right. I'm not sure. Sometimes you give me those backhanded compliments.
There's some comedy. There's some comedy in it, but it's a good virtue to have. It's
Lakers all day. Let's get you on a special show. Hit me up, Lakers Fast Break, so I can get your information. LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. I'd love to get you on. I really want to give you compliments on your channel as well. Hit me up at Lakers Fast Break. We want to get a special interview with you so you can have plenty of time to talk Lakers, my friend. We'll get you something special on that. Again, hit me up, LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com, and we'll set up something good. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry. Thanks, my friend.
No problem at all. But look, so
we're heading on out. I just wanted to, after John, we're heading on out. So yeah.
I'm gonna give my starting lineup based on I'm not trying to just put the best 5 players out there. I'm trying to build the best team throughout the game. So I want to have a good starting lineup, but also have a good bench. I don't want to have absolute trash bench. So for me, if everyone's healthy, whether people like it or not, I'm starting D'Angelo Russell at the 1 because I just don't want LeBron having to have the ball in his hands at all times and be forced to be that playmaker. So I'm gonna have D'Lo at the 1. Because D'Lo's inconsistencies on defense and because of he's really just a cone out there, I'm going to go with the same strategy that the Warriors were doing when Stephen Curry was always a defensive liability. What would Klay Thompson do? Klay Thompson was a defender. They had the 2, always guarding the other team's best player. we don't have nobody nearly as good as a prime Klay Thompson defender. But I mean, for now, I like Cam and his defense. So I'll put Cam out there at the 2 for some defense to be able to guard some of these elite guards that are around the league. So that's D'Lo at the 1, Cam at the 2.
What about that argument, though, I ask in regards to everybody complaining that's out there that said, oh, the Lakers have not really had any time out there with the lineup that got them to the playoffs and got them through those first 2 rounds?
Are you talking about the lineup with Austin Reeves starting?
I'm just telling you what the D'Lo, Austin, Vando, LeBron, AD lineup. I'm just saying what people.
So far, it's been 3 minutes this season, just for the record.
Yeah,
and
which I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, come playoffs when I do think that you can't get you can't really get
they
off.
make the playoffs.
You're right. Absolutely. If they make the playoffs, if they find themselves in that situation, I do think then that is a lineup you should go to. But also, one thing I have said on this show is that like it's very situational. You got to look at who you're playing against because it's all about matchups, especially come playoffs.
100%.
If we get there, but if I had to just choose a lineup that we're gonna have to roll with on the regular and to help our bench, help our team throughout the whole game, it is gonna be D'Lo at the 1. I'm gonna go Cam at the 2. I'm gonna have to go Taurean Prince at the 3 only because. And man, besides LeBron, he's the only other player on our team shooting 40% from 3. And we know that when LeBron's out there, he's going to get a lot of driving kicks. So I'm going to hope that
10 points in 2 games.
I hear you. But I mean, we need some type of shooting out there, or else the defense is just going to be crowding the paint. And that's where we need to get to. That's where we strive at. But if they're crowding the paint because they know that we have no possible shooters out there, Cam's not a real reliable shooter. Taurean Prince so far, like I said, him and LeBron, only 2 players shooting 40% on this team. So Taurean Prince would be at that 3, and then LeBron and AD 4 or 5. And I say that to say then because then we still have that punch on the bench of Austin Reeves coming off the bench. Hopefully, Darvin Ham decides to play Christian Wood a little bit more, and also hopefully have the punch of whatever Jared Vanderbilt can give us on offense, which isn't much, but he can give us some on defense. So that's the starting line.
Right now, it's 2 points.
Right now, it is 2 points. So that's that. To sum it up, D'Lo, Cam, Taurean, Bron, and AD. But come playoffs, I'd like that starting lineup that we had last year.
I'll ask Stone that here in a second, but please pitch your channels before we head on out, my friend.
Absolutely.
I want to put Stone on that. The question.
I got 2 channels everybody could check me out at. The Lakers Corner channel that's on YouTube, dropping all type of Lakers content, everything Lakers. We're always talking about it. And then right here, Clutch Talk, it's just my NBA talk show, just dropping 2 episodes per week on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, talking about NBA as a whole, man. But as always, appreciate the invite and welcoming onto the show.
Okay, so Stone, the question is, I know you heard that, like you said, you heard what went on as far as recently Low Post podcast, Hoop Collective, all that as far as the ESPN podcast. I did too. They were talking about how little the playoff starting roster, which and Tim Bontemps pointed out, I know he's a hater for the Lakers. He hates the Lakers, but he does point some things out, and that they did end up, D'Lo and Vando not playing by the end of that Denver series, but it's the starting lineup that got us into the playoffs in those first 2 rounds. Would you try it going forward when D'Lo comes back from that bruised tailbone?
I mean, I don't think I would start that as the lineup. I'd play that lineup more throughout the games, but that wouldn't be my main lineup. And I think that because I think number 1, spacing is an issue with Vando out there. Number 2, teams, I think you've had 6 months since that playoff run. That's a lot of time for teams to look at that and be like, all right, this is the adjustments we make to make sure this lineup isn't as effective as it was in the playoffs for them. So I would actually do the same exact lineup that Lakers. I keep calling you Lakers Corner. I haven't met you. I think your name's John, though. Okay,
yes,
yeah. Sorry, I don't want to mess your name up.
All good.
Yeah, so I would do the same lineup that John did, except I would replace Rui with Prince. That'd be the only change I'd make.
Okay, well, there you have it. Great having you here. Please go ahead and check out John's great work at Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. Lakers in 5, that great channel. he was actually talking to the guy behind Lakers in 5. There you go. Go ahead and check it out today as Joe gives me that sarcastic Cheshire cat grin that only he can do. Check out Joe's great company, Simblades, SimbladesWithAY.com. I'm giving at least your company some love, Joe.
I want to thank existence and the earth.
That's only you can do.
And oxygen and water.
I just want to say thanks for having me on again, you guys. But I probably won't be on for roughly the next month or so, just because I'm moving and I don't know how soon I'll have internet.
It's just what I was going to ask you.
But I appreciate you guys having me on again. Hopefully something changes. I don't know what it is.
Hopefully the Lakers will be in a better place when the time you come back.
So I always appreciate you guys having me on. I've been listening to all the episodes. I'll continue to during the whole move and the ride out there and everything. But for anyone watching or listening, if you don't see me for a while, it's because I'm moving. Yeah,
Sean, I agree with you. But again, you pick your poison, Sean. There's really all the options out there. You're going to get dinged somewhere. What are you going to do with what we have right now? It's a dumpster fire. So you got to do what you can. And again, the lineup I threw out there with D'Lo, Austin, Rui, and then LeBron AD. It's not perfect. There's no perfect solution right now that the Lakers have because the Lakers are just underperforming, and it shows. They're 17-19, 11th place in the Western Conference. Tomorrow, I'm looking forward to hopefully having a show for everyone out there. Looking forward to getting a Lakers Holics show up and running. I'm going to try and reach out to Lakers All Day. If he doesn't respond to me, I'll try to get him on the show to have a show, for him to go ahead and sound off on the Lakers and talk about that. So, Joe, okay, here we go. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
No.
That's what I thought. All right. Well, no more needed on a day like today. Will the Lakers lose?
I think I've spoken enough.
Oh, that you have.
I had spoken enough about an hour ago, actually.
Yes, but then again, you are going to keep Stone in good spirits as the Lakers continue on for all the shows he's going to watch or listen to us here in the next month and a half until he comes back to us. And hopefully he can go ahead and
I'll be back for the trade deadline. That's when you'll see me.
There you go. Absolutely.
I can't wait till we get, I don't know, let's say Naj Reid for AD or something.
Well, yeah, there you go. Absolutely. Killer trade there. Chetty Clash says, who do you think is the cutest Laker? It's probably the best question all day.
That's best for Joe because he was the one talking about different daddies during the
Wednesday game when he went off on Benny Blanco and had no idea who he was.
I opened Pandora's box.
He really liked Jaw's hair, so let's see what his answer
is. And that flowery jacket.
It was I don't know what happened, but I just heard today that Michael Jackson called Chris Tucker Christmas Tucker, and ever since then I've been feeling very icky.
Cat Williams said that. That was
yeah.
That was
actually a lot of things. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, Chris Tucker did a stand-up.
Cat Williams podcast or the Epstein files?
Well, Chris Tucker said it too. He was doing this. He's like
kind of a tie.
Christmas.
That was so funny.
I was laughing pretty good. I thought it was great. And Chris Tucker's like, what? Did he just say Christmas? Like, all right. And then after a while, he's like, it's all right. It had a ring to it. So yeah, it's been a lot of there's been a lot of emasculating this last couple days of stuff. So I don't know. I guess I'm rolling with the narrative.
Yeah, but check out Joe's comments on Benny Blanco, the producer who is now dating Selena Gomez from the last Wednesday's playback and also the postgame show. Yeah.
That last comment's insane.
Possibly, Chetty.
How do you follow that?
You don't.
It's sad because she's a pretty girl, and I'm like, what? Really? The guy that looked like he dipped his head in hay at some farm and then went to a Laker game? Come on, man.
I put on that flowery jacket he got at a cheap motel.
I mean, there's jackets like that, and I hate the dog on Marshalls, but that's where that stuff goes. Oh, God.
Well, there you go. Once again, it is the Lakers losing.
Because the options out there are not very good.
113. I liked it better when we talked about food on the last podcast. But it is Gerald Glassford, along with Joe Soros, Stone Hansen, who we're wishing safe travels to, and hopefully he comes back to us as soon as he can. And of course, John Costa. Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk. Please go ahead and follow, like, and subscribe. Lakers in 5, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, John McCalian, Larry Lakers Dribbling Chit Chat, and also as well Empire Jeff TV, great channels as well. And please like and subscribe to get the latest notifications on when we go live once again with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. What are you doing behind that screen, Joe?
Going with the music, fool.
I hope you are.
You're a sick person, you know that?
He's producing it like Benny
You're the
Blanco.
one with the